ready to peek into the future of buildings.
I think everyone's kind of curious about that. Like, what are our cities going to look like in a few
Yeah,
years?
exactly. So we're going deep on the latest trends in construction and design today. And we've got some really cool sources to pull from.
Oh, yeah. It's not just like blueprints and stuff, though we do have those, but conversations with the people who are actually, shaping this future.
Absolutely. And we're talking architects, engineers, urban planners,
Mm.
people pushing the boundaries of what a building can even be.
It's a good mix, too, so we can see like where those different perspectives kind of come together.
And clash, maybe?
Right, right. And that's good. That's how innovation happens, right?
Definitely. So let's start with something that's been getting a ton of buzz, sustainable design.
Big topic.
Huge. But what does it actually mean, like on the ground? Not just a theory, but the actual, building stuff.
Okay, so think about it like this. We're moving from just trying to reduce a building's impact to making it actually beneficial for the environment.
Whoa, okay. So not just doing less harm,
Yeah.
but actually doing good.
Right, like imagine buildings generating more energy than they use.
Solar panels, obviously.
Yeah, but integrated, like seamlessly into the design, maybe even as part of the building's skin.
Oh, cool. I've seen some designs where they use the windows to generate solar power, too.
Exactly. And it's not just solar. Geothermal is becoming more and more viable, especially for heating and cooling.
Tapping into the Earth's heat. Isn't that more for, like, individual homes?
It can be, but they're figuring out ways to scale it up for larger buildings, too.
Okay, so energy is a big piece of the puzzle.
Hmm.
But buildings use a ton of water, too. Any innovations on that front?
Oh, tons. Rainwater harvesting is becoming more common.
Like collecting it from the roof and stuff?
Yeah, using it for things like irrigation, flushing toilets.
Makes sense. And are there any interesting new materials coming into play? Or are we still stuck with the usual concrete and steel?
Not at all. We're seeing some seriously cool stuff.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so you've got things like mass timber. It's like engineered wood, super strong, can be used for really tall buildings.
Wait, wood for skyscrapers? Is that safe?
Oh, yeah. It's actually really fire resistant. They're using it all over the world now.
Oh, interesting. Anything else?
Bamboo is another one. It grows incredibly fast, very sustainable. They're using it for flooring, beams, even entire structures.
Bamboo always seems a little flimsy to me, but I guess if they're using it for buildings.
It's all about how it's treated and engineered. Certain types of bamboo are actually stronger than steel in tension.
Okay, that's impressive. What about the cost of all this? Aren't sustainable materials usually more expensive?
They can be upfront, yeah, but you've got to factor in the long-term savings. A building that generates its own energy uses less water.
Oh, yeah, and requires less maintenance. It all adds up.
Exactly. Plus, as demand for these sustainable materials grows, prices are starting to come down.
Speaking of tech, that's another area where things are moving fast. I'm hearing about 3D printed houses, drones on construction sites, and BIM. What is that? Anyway,
Right. It sounds like sci-fi, but this is all happening now. So BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. It's basically like creating a digital twin of the building before they even start digging the foundation.
a virtual model, but super detailed.
Super detailed, like every pipe, every wire, everything's in there. Architects, engineers, everyone's working together in that model so they can spot problems before they become real-world headaches.
So it's not just a cool visualization. It's actually helping things run smoother and cheaper.
Exactly. Saves a lot of time and money in the long run.
Okay, and what about 3D printing? Are those houses made of plastic? Like, how does that even work?
It's getting really sophisticated. They're using concrete, sometimes even mixing in recycled materials. It's layer by layer, kind of like those old 3D printers, but on a massive scale.
I feel like we've been hearing about 3D printed houses for years. Is it actually happening?
Oh, yeah. There are companies all over the world doing it now. Still kind of early days, but it's definitely happening.
Are we all going to live in identical cookie-cutter houses then?
That's a valid concern. But one of the cool things about 3D printing is it actually opens up more possibilities for customization. Imagine printing a house with curved walls, unique textures. It's much easier to do that with 3D printing than with traditional methods.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, last one from the sci-fi list. Drones. Are they just a cool toy for construction sites, or are they actually doing real work?
Oh, they're working hard. Drones can survey a site in hours, what used to take days or weeks with traditional methods. They create these detailed 3D maps, and they can monitor progress from the air.
So project managers can see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, which means they can catch problems early on, make adjustments, keep things moving. Drones are also being used for safety inspections, especially in hard-to-reach places.
So they're not replacing jobs, they're actually making things safer for workers.
Right. It's about humans and tech working together.
Okay, let's talk materials again. We touched on some cool sustainable options earlier, but I'm also hearing about self-healing, concrete, transparent wood. Is this just hype, or is this the real deal?
Oh, no, this stuff is fascinating. Self-healing concrete is still in the early stages, but the idea is that it can actually repair small cracks on its own.
How's that even possible?
They're using bacteria, actually. Certain types of bacteria can produce calcium carbonate, which is basically the main ingredient in concrete.
So it's like the concrete has its own built-in repair crew.
Exactly. Imagine bridges that can fix themselves.
That's a little freaky, but also kind of cool. What about this transparent wood? Sounds made up.
I know, right? But it's real. It's basically wood that's been chemically treated to remove the lignin, which makes it opaque. Then they inject it with a polymer that makes it transparent.
So you can see through it, like actually see through it.
Yeah. It's still in the experimental phase, but it has huge potential.
Like what kind of potential?
Think about windows, solar panels, even building facades. It's stronger than regular wood and it lets light through.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Sustainable practices, wild technology, these crazy new materials. But none of it really matters if the people managing these projects don't know what they're doing, right?
Oh, that's a huge point. Managing these large-scale construction projects is like conducting an orchestra. You've got architects, engineers, contractors, suppliers, all these different players that need to be in sync.
I bet communication is key.
Absolutely. Clear communication, knowing how to resolve conflicts, and being adaptable when things inevitably go wrong. That's crucial.
Because they always go wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. But the good news is, technology is making it easier to manage these complex projects. We've got software that tracks everything in real time, analyzes data to spot potential problems before they happen.
So managers can make better decisions faster.
Exactly. But again, it's not just about the tech. You need people who can think critically, solve problems, and work effectively with others. That human element is still essential.
So all this to say, the future of buildings is looking pretty wild.
Wild, yeah. And exciting.
And complicated.
Definitely. But I think it's a good kind of complicated. It means we're pushing boundaries, thinking creatively, and ultimately building a better future.
I like that. So next time you walk down the street, take a look around. Those buildings might be powered by the sun, built with robots, and made of algae.
Who knows?
The future's wide open.
That's the best part.
And that's it for this deep dive.
Until next time.